Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are taking a deeply fascinating look into the hidden world of feline behavior. My absolute goal over the next few minutes is to completely reframe those everyday little things your cat does. We're going to look at the hard science to prove that what you might usually dismiss as just, quirky cat habits are actually profound, scientifically backed expressions of deep maternal-level attachment. Prepare to see your feline friend in a totally new light.
So tell me, has your cat ever licked your hand or decided to just fall asleep right there on your chest? You've probably experienced this and thought it was just a cute moment, or maybe even a little annoying if you really had to get up. But what do these super common yet totally misunderstood behaviors actually mean? Well, researchers have been looking into exactly that, and the answer is absolutely going to surprise you. Okay, let's dive into this. Scientists have recently revealed a staggering statistic. 2%. Just 2% of cats show these incredibly rare, highly specific behaviors toward humans. Why? Because the vast majority of cats simply see people as food providers, or maybe just giant, slightly clumsy roommates. But if your cat is doing these specific things, they have placed you in an entirely different category. So as we go through this explainer, I want you to keep a mental tally.
Let's start our daily journey right at the very beginning. Section 1, Morning Rituals and Shadows.
You open your eyes, and your cat is right there, rubbing their face against yours. We usually think, the cat's waking me up for breakfast. But anthrozoologist John Bradshaw's research paints a completely different picture. Face-to-face rubbing is reserved exclusively for a cat's innermost attachment circle. Actually, scratch that. It's not about kibble at all. It is a deliberate, conscious ritual to reconfirm your emotional bond after the separation of sleep. It's exactly what kittens do with their mothers every single morning to say, "You are still mine, and I am still yours."
And when you finally look back at them, pay close attention to their eyes. A study published in Current Biology defines this reaction as positive emotional arousal. When your cat looks at you and their pupils suddenly dilate in a totally calm setting, it's an involuntary neurological response triggered by deep attachment. Their nervous system is literally reacting with a rush of recognition and safety before their brain even catches up. They absolutely cannot fake this. Their eyes light up simply because it's you. Then you get out of bed, head to the kitchen, and your cat is right on your heels. You might laugh and call them clingy, but stop right there. An Oregon State University study found that when your cat follows you from room to room, they are using the exact same psychological mechanism as securely attached human infants following their mothers. To put that into perspective, your physical presence literally regulates their heart rate and lowers their cortisol. You are their emotional anchor in the world.
So, your morning clearly matters a lot to them. But what happens when you have to leave? Let's move into our next section, separation and reunion. You head off to work, and while you're gone, your cat seeks out a worn shirt you left on the bed. You might come home, see them sleeping on it, and just brush them off so you can put it away. But studies on feline stress reveal your scent acts as a powerful biological comfort signal. Sleeping on your clothes produces a measurable reduction in their stress hormones. It acts exactly like a mother's scent does for a kitten during weaning. By moving them off your shirt, you're actually taking away their self-soothing comfort object.
And then you finally walk back through the front door. They approach you, tail pointing straight up to the ceiling. We often think, oh, they're begging for a treat. But a landmark study in animal cognition confirms that a raised tail greeting, especially if it has a tiny, involuntary quiver at the very tip, is an excitement response developed exclusively between a kitten and its mother. It signals complete emotional safety and recognition of a trusted caregiver. They aren't greeting you because you're a feeder, they're greeting you because you are theirs.
Right after that tail goes up, you might catch them doing the full-body exhale. You walk in, and they do a massive, elongated stretch right in front of you. Another animal cognition study found that this specific type of stretching, triggered by your appearance, is a very deliberate, welcoming gesture. To stretch like that, every single muscle must relax, and all defensive postures must totally drop. They are showing you their entire body in its most unguarded state, out of pure relief that you are home.
Let's see how this connection builds as the day goes on. Welcome to the quiet afternoon hours, and our next section, Silent Signals of Trust.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how much we get this wrong. Your cat rolls over and exposes their belly. You reach in for a pat and suddenly, snap, you're in a scratchy trap. We've all been there, right? Well, a University of Edinburgh study on feline vulnerability proved that belly exposure overrides all their survival instincts. In the wild, a cat that does this to the wrong creature doesn't survive. So showing you their belly is one of the highest trust declarations possible. It is a confession that they trust you with their life. It is absolutely not an invitation to touch.
Have you ever had a genuinely terrible day and your cat just quietly appeared right next to you? According to a 2019 Nottingham Trent University study, cats actively read human emotional cues. They detect micro-expressions and subtle vocal tone changes that most humans completely miss. On your absolute worst days, they are drawn to comfort you with the exact same emotional pull a mother feels toward a child in pain. They dynamically adjust their behavior to be exactly what you need.
Sometimes, though, comforting you just means sitting nearby. Based on animal behaviorist Mikel Delgado's research, when your cat sits just out of arm's reach, it's not them being aloof or ignoring you. It's actually the most emotionally mature thing a cat does. It mimics the independence phase of kittens with their mothers. They're calculating the precise distance to feel connected without being overwhelmed, learning that love does not require constant contact to be real.
And speaking of feeling ignored, what about when you call their name and they don't even twitch an ear? When that happens, our usual guilt sets in, right? We think, they're ignoring me. But a 2013 animal cognition study says otherwise. Cats accurately distinguish your voice from strangers, but they exercise a selective response. It's not coldness, it's the deepest familiarity. They are so incredibly comfortable with you that they just know they don't have to acknowledge every single sound you make.
So they trust you implicitly, but how do they actively care for you? That brings us to ancient instincts of care.
Has your cat ever aggressively licked your hand or your hair, and you just pulled away laughing? Well, you actually just rejected an act of pure love called allogrooming. According to published animal behavior research, allogrooming is documented almost exclusively within a core family group. Mother cats groom their kittens to say, "You are mine and I will take care of you." When your cat licks you, they are doing exactly that.
And this care escalates through a hierarchy of physical affection, identified by feline behaviorist Pam Johnson-Bennett. Step 1 is tail wrapping. When they walk by and drape their tail over your leg, it's not an accident. It's a conscious muscular movement to anchor themselves to you. And step 2, the ultimate gesture, touching foreheads. When they press their forehead to yours and just stay completely still, this isn't playing. It's an ancient, silent bond of choosing to simply exist in contact with you.
Finally, the sun goes down. The house gets quiet. Let's look at our final section, the night shift.
You finally go to sleep, and your cat climbs up and falls asleep directly on your chest. You might think they just found a warm spot. And this brilliantly illustrates a University of Queensland study on feline sleep behavior, which explains that during deep sleep, a cat's heart rate drops and defensive instincts go completely quiet. Choosing to sleep on your chest means they trust you with their life. It is their state of ultimate neurological vulnerability. But maybe they aren't asleep. Maybe you wake up at 2 a.m. and your cat is just sitting there in the dark, staring at you. It feels a little creepy, right? Well, reframe that feeling entirely. Research on feline protective behavior reveals they are actively standing guard over you. It's called environmental scanning. They are monitoring the dark for threats so that you, their bonded human, can rest without danger. Think about the immense emotional weight of this for a second. Standing guard while you sleep is literally the most selfless act your cat performs. No one trained them to do it. They aren't asking for a treat or to play or even for you to wake up and acknowledge them. They simply want you to be safe while you're unconscious. They do it because you became someone worth protecting. So we've looked at the morning rubs, the dilated pupils, the belly exposure, the grooming, and the silent night watches. Ask yourself, how chosen are you? Tally up those behaviors, because if your cat is doing these things, they don't just tolerate you. They love you with a profound maternal-level attachment that science is really only just beginning to understand. Next time your cat wraps their tail around your leg, you'll know exactly what they're saying. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, but honestly, it makes you wonder, what other secret languages are our pets speaking that we haven't learned to decode yet?